Hey guys, it's Gus, and today we're going to be looking at the Jewels, Thor Mousepad, and Stardust mouse bundle, along with comparing it with my old setup, my trusty Glide 38 and my little red Jewels Hati. So the Stardust totally went under my radar as I thought it was just a blue Hati with white specks of paint. Yeah, I wasn't that impressed, but when I realized it had a better sensor and weight reduction, I just had to have it. I mean, the Hati is my favorite mouse, and the Stardust is supposed to be a better version of that, right? Well, at least that's what I had thought. Now before we get ahead of ourselves, let me say that yes, this mouse is good. The weight reduction is noticeable and there is an improvement on quality control. Kinda. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a look at the Galaxy Thor mousepad and see what it has to offer. With that being said, let's begin. The Thor is a mousepad that offers some of the smoothest glide on a mousepad I have ever tried. It has this glittery shiny surface that I assume is what gives the Thor mousepad its smooth glide. X-Ray Pads describes the glide the Thor offers in their website as like skating on ice, which I gotta say, it's pretty accurate. The Thor mousepad offers a buttery smooth glide and feels extra smooth with virgin PTFE feet. Compared to the Glide 38, the surface is rougher due to the textured surface, however, they both almost offer the same speed, with the Thor feeling the fastest out of the two. In terms of stopping power, I feel like the Glide 38 offers better stopping power than the Thor, and I think it's because of the materials used on the Glide 38. The surface on the Glide 38 tends to wear out and you will lose a bit of speed, however, you will gain stopping power over time. I haven't had any issues with my Glide 38 and I don't really mind how slow it has gotten. It hasn't drastically slowed down enough for me to complain, so take what you will from that. I've had the Thor mousepad for almost 2 months and I haven't noticed it slowing down much. It still feels as smooth as the day I got it. Moving on to the dimensions of the Glide 38, which are 35.4 inches long by 15.8 inches wide and 0.7 inches thick, we can see that it offers enough surface area for us 400 DPI users. Compared to the Thor mousepad I have, the dimensions are 23.6 inches long, 15.7 inches wide, and 0.11 inches thick. We can see that the Thor mousepad I got is indeed smaller, but it still has more than enough room for my 400 DPI sensitivity. If you feel like the dimensions on this Thor mousepad are going to be an issue for you in terms of size, they do offer a variety of sizes, so don't worry. And if you don't like the color of the Blue Galaxy colorway, they do offer a variety of colors as well. In fact, they offer custom work, so if you have an image in mind you want to put on your Thor mousepad, X-Ray Pads will be more than happy to help with just that. So which one's better out of the Glide 38 and the Thor mousepad? Honestly, it's gonna have to be the Thor mousepad. While I do love the Glide 38, it just doesn't offer that buttery smooth glide that the Thor mousepad offers. Unfortunately for Mad Cats, they use the textured surface rather than the flat smooth surface, and to me, the buttery smooth feeling that the Thor offers is just better in terms of feeling and speed. It's not to say that the Glide 38 is a bad mousepad, it's just that after using the Thor mousepad for months, I have really learned to appreciate just how smooth virgin PTFE feet feel on a nice mousepad, especially one that can complement aftermarket feet like these Tiger Arcs. Speaking of aftermarket feet, let's quickly compare these Tiger Arcs with the zero friction skates included with the Stardust bundle. After playing with the Tiger Arcs and the zero friction skates for weeks, I'm here to report that the Tiger Arcs and low friction skates feel exactly the same to me. I just couldn't notice any significant difference between the two. Maybe the Tiger Arcs feel a tiny bit smoother, but it could just be me being biased as I knew which mouse had what feet. I did ask my brother Carlos to try out both mice and he couldn't tell the difference between the feet either. So it's safe to say that these zero friction skates are just as good as Tiger Arcs. Now on to the part we've all been waiting for, the Hati Stardust. I already did a review on the Hati and all its features, so we're going to be skipping some of them and only go over the differences between the regular Hati and the Stardust. We're also going to see if there's been any improvement in quality along with my final conclusion. So the first clear difference between the two, other than this beautiful Stardust colorway, is the sides. At first, I completely ignored the Stardust because I didn't know it had weight reduction. I just thought it had a better sensor and came in a prettier color. The weight of the Stardust is 56 grams as opposed to the regular Hati, which comes at around 61. Another difference between the two was the mouse 1 and 2 buttons. The classic Hati uses TTC golden dustproof switches, whereas the Stardust uses Omron switches. And finally, the last difference between the two is the sensor, with the red Hati using a Pixar 3360 and the Stardust using a Pixar 3389. So, what's my final conclusion? Is the Stardust the better one out of the two? Technically, yes, but unfortunately, I just couldn't tell any major differences between the two. Mouse 1 and 2 wobble about the same, so they didn't fix that issue, which I know annoyed the hell out of a lot of you guys, which is very unfortunate. The weight reduction, while noticeable, didn't really help me at all when gaming. I mean, yes, you can feel the difference in weight between the two, but not by much, and it didn't help me perform any better. In fact, it kinda ruined my experience, as the sides are now weaker due to the holes, which caused me to accidentally actuate the buttons when gripping the mouse too tight. This isn't something that happens all the time, only when I get sweaty playing Apex, but still, this was an issue that I never ran into with my red Hati, like at all, not even once. This is more of a personal issue, but still something to consider. As for the sensor, I just couldn't tell any major differences between the 3389 or the 3360. I played and tried both mice for 2 months trying to see if there was any major difference, but both sensors just felt near the same. No major differences between the two at all. As for the Mouse 1 and 2, the Omron switches feel extra crispy and light, which a lot of people like. As for the TTC switches, they feel and sound chunky and are satisfying to click. Personally, I like the TTC switches better, but that's just my personal preference. Both switches feel great in my opinion. One good thing I do have to say about the Hati is that they did improve the quality on the Mouse 1 and 2 when pressing them. My red Hati developed this creaking when pressing the buttons, which I found annoying. I've had my Stardust for 2 months and so far no creaking, which I really appreciate, as I really found that creaking annoying. So after all of that and pretty much ripping on the Stardust, I still feel like it deserves some attention, but only from some. Let me explain. As someone who already owned a Hati before the Stardust, I wasn't really impressed. The weight reduction did not help me perform any better, and the sensor isn't really much of an improvement. I could have skipped the Stardust and I really wouldn't have missed out much. So for who exactly is the Stardust Hati for? Well, I think it's for those who don't own a Hati and are just looking to get into the whole lightweight mouse scene. The Stardust isn't a bad mouse, it just isn't much of an improvement when compared to the classic Hati. It still offers that great shit we all know and love and comes at a lower weight, which again didn't really do anything for me, but I could see newcomers appreciating the weight reduction. I highly recommend you take a look at the Stardust only if you are new to the whole lightweight mouse trend and are trying to bundle it with a Thor pad and arc curved skates like I did. The issue with the side buttons being actuated is really more of a personal problem, and I don't think most of you guys will ever run into that issue. The Thor mousepad was my favorite thing out of the bundle, and if you don't have a Hati or a Thor mousepad, then bundling it is a must. I really ended up loving the Thor pad out of the two. If you guys haven't tried a Thor mousepad, I highly recommend you do. It doesn't feel like any other mousepad I've tried in the past and just feels amazing. Seriously, if you haven't tried one yet, do yourself a favor and buy one. It's a must try. So that about does it, guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and stay safe from that coronavirus, guys. Wash your damn hands. Thank you guys for watching. This is Gus from Unplugged, and I will catch y'all on the next vid. See ya.